The world is filled with bright and colorful things, from beautiful flowers to tropical fish to breathtaking butterflies. Just take a moment to look around at the wide variety of colors that surround us wherever we are. At the zoo, a canyon, a clothes closet, they all abound with color. That's why our sense of vision is often considered our most important sense. We collect about 9/10 of the information about the world around us through our sense of sight. Hearing, tasting, smelling, and touching are important senses, but when it comes to gathering information, our sense of sight is number one. Light is the key to this whole thing. Color is one of the properties of light. And, of course, the key source of light is the sun. Even ancient people realized the importance of light, and they worshiped the sun to be sure the supply of light would not run out. All living things on the planet depend on light. The light from the sun provides energy and heat. Green plants use light in their food-making process called photosynthesis. During photosynthesis, carbon dioxide, which is exhaled by animals, and minerals and water, which is absorbed by the plant from the earth, are combined in the presence of light to make glucose, a kind of sugar for the plant to use for its own growth and survival. The plant gives off oxygen as a byproduct of this food-making process. Oxygen is needed by all animals, including humans. Plants can't live without light. If a green plant doesn't receive light, it will not be able to make food and will eventually die. If plants were to disappear from our planet, animals would soon follow. Many animals eat plants, and all animals breathe the oxygen that only plants can make. So all life on Earth is dependent upon light from the sun. People have always been fascinated with light and the sense of sight. But not all the ideas about light and sight have been correct. For instance, about 2,000 years ago, the Greeks thought that eyes worked because they sent out energy that hit an object and bounced back. They thought this because they saw the eyes of cats and dogs in dark areas. Their eyes appeared to glow. It was this glow that made them think that the eyes were generating a light energy. Actually, cats and dogs can see better in the dark than we can because their eyes can open up to collect as much available light as possible. However, they can't see in total darkness because their eyes need an outside light source to work. We now know that eyes make it possible for animals and humans to see because of reflected and emitted light. This is how it works for reflected light. Light strikes an object and bounces off. We call this reflected light. The reflected light enters our eye, and an image of what we are looking at is formed on the back of the eye, called the retina. The retina is made up of rods and cones that are sensitive to light. The rods are sensitive to light and dark and not color. The cones are capable of sensing different colors. Primates, including humans, are the only mammals to experience full color vision. Dogs, cats, mice, rabbits, and most mammals see a black and white world because of a lack of color-sensing cones. There are other animals that can see color, but often not all the colors we see. Usually, animals that are colorful can see in color. For instance, birds and butterflies can see in color. Even snakes and lizards can see colors. The bright colors and markings of many animals help them to identify each other. As you can see in this diagram, the human eye is very complicated. Light enters the eye through the pupil, which is the dark hole in the center of the iris. The iris is muscle tissue, which determines the size of the pupil. In bright light, the iris closes the pupil, so not as much light gets in. Under dark conditions, the iris opens up the pupil, allowing greater amounts of available light in the eye. The iris is the blue, green, brown, or hazel part of the eye. The white part of the eyeball is a tough protective skin. It covers the entire eyeball except for the clear area over the iris and pupil. This protective section is called the cornea. The cornea bends the light towards the lens. The cornea focuses the light entering the eye. Most people think that the lens is responsible for focusing, but that is wrong. The lens helps us to be able to focus things that are close as well as things that are far away. The lens is adjusted when small muscles change the shape of the lens. However, it is the cornea that does the most to focus light that enters the eye. Light enters the cornea and then is bent towards the retina, where an inverted image strikes the rods and cones. The rods and cones send electrical impulses to the brain through nerve fibers that collect to form the optic nerve behind the eye. The place where the fibers come together has no rods or cones, so images can't be seen at this point, which is referred to as the blind spot. The optic nerve carries the information to the brain, where it is flipped and analyzed. Humans have two eyes for a purpose. We have what is called binocular vision. The image from each eye is combined to give us the ability to determine distance. The field of vision is determined by how much you can see without moving your head. Many birds and fish have their eyes on the side of their head so that their field of vision is larger. This helps them to see things that might be approaching them from different directions. Insects have compound eyes, which are made up of thousands of lenses. This is a close-up of a bee's eye. Isaac Newton in 1665 made some important discoveries about light and color. He found that white light entering a glass prism could be bent and separated into 7 color groups. These principal color groups were red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. To remember the order of these colors, think of their first letters and the name Roy G. Biv. Newton conducted other experiments and found that all 7 color groups could be bent with a second prism back to make white again. We now call the collection of these 7 groups of which white light is composed the visible spectrum. The colors bend at different angles because the colors each travel at different speeds. Violet is bent the most because it travels slower than the other colors when it goes through glass or water. Red bends the least because it travels faster than the other colors. All the colors have their own speeds. Light travels slower through water and glass than it does through air. Light is a form of radiation given off by the sun. It is part of the electromagnetic spectrum. Actually, it is a very small part of the spectrum, as you can see in this chart. Only the section called the visible spectrum can be seen by humans. These other forms of radiation are invisible to us, but they are still there. The rays of different types of radiation have different wavelengths, just like the different colors of the spectrum have different wavelengths that cause them to separate into the color spectrum. 2 types of radiation given off by the sun that we can't see are ultraviolet and infrared. Ultraviolet waves are just beyond violet on the electromagnetic spectrum. These rays can be very damaging to the skin and can even cause skin cancer. That's why it's not a good idea to sit out in the sun without suntan lotion. The other form of radiation is called infrared and is found on the other side of red. Infrared energy is heat energy. We don't need a glass prism to break light into its spectrum. In fact, nature can provide us with a beautiful spectrum in the form of a rainbow. Rainbows occur when sunlight is refracted in small droplets of water. The raindrops act like little water prisms that refract the light and form a rainbow. Newton's work with colors also helped to explain why things have different colors. When we see a nice red apple, it's because the apple is reflecting red and absorbing all the other colors. The white light that strikes the apple contains all the colors, including red. All the other colors are absorbed, and the red bounces off the apple and enters our eyes. The colors we see are the colors reflected by objects. If we light an object with something other than white light, we will get different results. Here is the nice red apple. If we shine a green light on the apple, it will not appear red. It appears black. This is because the green light has no red in it. The green is absorbed, so the apple looks black because it is reflecting no colors. White objects reflect all the colors, whereas black reflects no colors. It absorbs all the light. We can mix different colors of light to make other colors. There are 3 colors of light that can make the other colors of the spectrum. These colors are called the primary colors of light and are red, green, and blue. Here is a white paper plate. When we shine red light on it, it appears red. When we shine a green light on it, it looks green. And if we combine the red and green light, it appears yellow. If you look closely at a color television screen, you will see that the entire screen is made up of hundreds of dots arranged in groups of 3. There are tiny red, green, and blue dots that can be used to create all the colors you see on television. Don't confuse the 3 primary colors of light with the 3 primary colors of pigments. Pigments reflect different colors and are used in paints and dyes. Pigments may be combined to form different colors, and often an object contains more than one pigment. Mixing pigments is not the same as mixing the primary colors of light. The primary colors of pigments are red, blue, and yellow. Color photographs are made up of these 3 pigments. So, as we have seen so far, light is responsible for our ability to see color. Objects all around us have the capability to absorb some colors of light and reflect others. White light, such as the light from the sun, contains all the different colors. So in the presence of white light, everything is bright and colorful. In other colors of light, we get a different view altogether. Objects that are white reflect all the colors striking them, while objects that are black absorb all the colors and reflect nothing. If we paint one can white and another can black, we can run a quick experiment to see how energy from the sunlight can affect different colored objects. We take the temperature of water in each can and then set the cans in sunlight for a few minutes. When we compare the temperatures again, the temperature of the black can is much higher than that of the white can. Black absorbs heat and white reflects it. That's why the parking lot gets so hot during a sunny afternoon. A lot of heat energy from the sunlight is absorbed. Now, let's turn our attention to the nature of light. If you shine a flashlight across the room, you'll see that the light travels straight. It doesn't bend around corners. You may also notice that the light travels fast, very fast. In fact, light is the fastest thing we know of. It travels faster than a rocket, faster than the wind, even faster than a speeding bullet. Light travels at the incredible speed of 186,000 miles per second. That's like traveling from New York to San Francisco 62 times in 1 second. Nothing but light can travel at that speed. Light travels at different speeds through different substances. In the emptiness of space where there are no gases, light travels at its maximum speed. In air, glass, or water, light travels slower. Normally, light travels in a straight line, but when it goes from one substance to another, it may change direction because it slows down or speeds up. This change in speed causes the light to bend, or as scientists call it, refract. We can demonstrate refraction in a variety of ways. If we look at this pencil in the glass of water, it appears that the pencil is bent. When this bird is fishing, it must take into consideration the fact that the fish is not where it appears to be, because the reflected light from the fish bends when it moves from the water to the air. If the bird didn't know this, it would always be striking in the wrong place. Fiber optics is a new technology that is used in a number of interesting ways. The fiber optic material is flexible glass or plastic that can be as thin as a human hair. Light that goes in one end of the fiber is reflected back and forth from side to side the entire length of the fiber. The fiber can be twisted and bent, and the light still comes out the other end. They are using this fiber optic to send telephone calls because more information can be carried than with electric cables. It is also used to videotape in hard-to-reach places. Fiber optic material is used for lamps and even sold as a fun flashlight toy. Reflectors are used on bicycles and emergency vehicles to alert people that they are there. Light that strikes a reflector is reflected back to the source of the light. This helps to see bicyclists and runners at night. When light strikes an object that is transparent, the light goes through. Glass and clear plastic are transparent. Translucent materials are materials that let some of the light through, but the translucent materials scatter the light so that it is hard to see what is on the other side clearly. Most objects are opaque, which means they do not allow any light to go through them. Here's an interesting demonstration. We'll use a slide projector and a slide of a rhinoceros. First, we find the point where the image is focused. The white poster board will locate that spot. Then the poster board is put aside and the image disappears. Now when we wave a dowel rod quickly back and forth, the image reappears. The image is there the whole time, but we can only see it when there is something to reflect it to our eyes. The dowel rod creates that surface, and persistence of vision lets us see the whole image even though the reflected light comes to us in pieces. Persistence of vision helps us see this stick man made up of separate pictures walk. Our eyes retain or hold on to each image for a fraction of a second so we see the entire rhino and the man walking. Some objects, like mirrors, reflect all the light that strikes them back again. The image in a flat mirror is reversed. See how the letters are reversed? Some mirrors are curved, either inward or outward. A mirror that curves inward is called a concave mirror. The image in a concave mirror looks upside down unless you are very close to the mirror. This make-up mirror is designed to be used close up. A mirror that is curved outward is called a convex mirror. The image is right side up. Notice with a convex mirror, you can see more of what is around you. Convex mirrors are often used on cars to help the driver see if there are any other cars nearby. Amusement parks use special mirrors that are part convex and part concave to create interesting results. Images can be greatly altered by mirrors. Lenses are made of transparent material like glass or plastic. They are designed to make objects appear larger or smaller. There are two kinds of lenses. Lenses that curve inward are called concave, and those that curve outwards are convex. Concave lenses are thin in the middle and thicker at the edges. These lenses bend light outwards. Convex lenses are thick in the middle and thin on the edges. convex lenses magnify objects. Lenses are used to help correct vision problems. Our eyes see things clearly only when the image falls on the retina. If the focal point is in front of the retina or behind the retina, things will appear blurry. Nearsightedness is corrected with concave lenses that move the focal point further back to the eye's retina. Farsightedness is corrected with convex lenses that move the focal point forward. Lenses are also used in microscopes and telescopes. The first microscope used a small water drop to bend the light and magnify it. Now microscopes use a series of glass lenses to magnify things we can't see with just our eyes. Look at these microscopic single-cell animals found in pond water. Telescopes are used to study outer space. With telescopes, we have found out a great deal about planets and stars. Light reflected from planets or given off by stars can enter a telescope and be magnified to provide us with clear details of the object being observed. Light is generated by stars such as our sun, but planets and moons don't produce their own light. They reflect the light given off by the sun. The stars aren't the only sources of light. There are some animals that can produce light, such as the firefly. Back in 1879, Thomas Edison demonstrated a new form of light generated by an electric light bulb. The wire inside the bulb is very thin, and when electricity flows through the wire, it heats up and gives off light. The bulb part, which is made of clear glass, is filled with a gas that stops the wire from burning away. This is called an incandescent light. It glows because electricity heats up the small wire called a filament. Fluorescent lamps work a little differently, as they are filled with a gas that gives off ultraviolet light when electricity passes through it. This ultraviolet light causes a phosphorescent coating on the inside of the tube to glow. Laser light is a man-made light of only one kind of wavelength. Laser light can be used in a variety of ways because of its special properties. It is used at the library and at stores to read barcodes to identify products. The laser is used in operations because it can cut better than a scalpel, and there is less bleeding when laser surgery is performed. Your CD player uses a laser to read the signal from the disc. The light from the laser doesn't wear down the disc, so the sound quality is always excellent. Holograms are made with laser light. The hologram looks three-dimensional, and as you turn from side to side, the image changes. Today we've looked at light and color and explored how they affect our ability to appreciate the world around us. Question 1. If we shine a green light on this lemon, how will the lemon appear? Question 2. The primary colors of light are Question 3. The 7 color groups in the light spectrum are Question 4. Why do black objects absorb more heat energy than white or colored objects? Question 5. Why does light refract or bend when going through glass or water? Question 6. Describe how concave and convex mirrors are different from one another. Question 7. Draw arrows on the concave and convex lenses to show how light moves through them. Question 8. How do we see color from objects bathed in white light?